Hello, Silicon. We're down here somewhere in Coosa County.
An
And undisclosed place.
location.
We're at a beautiful place. We won't tell them where we're at. We'll just say we're in Coosa
There you
County.
go.
If y'all don't know, let me introduce you. This is Wild Bill and Rachael Embry. They are our recent winners of the Master Distillers competition. I left out a word.
Moonshiners.
Moonshiners.
There you go.
So let's just dive right into it.
All right.
How are y'all today?
We're doing good.
We're doing good. Beautiful day here in Coosa
It
County.
is. Beautiful day.
Let's talk about our ancestors for a minute. We know you just went on the show, and congratulations for winning.
Thank you.
And what did your ancestors contribute to y'all not only going on the show, but actually winning the show? Rachael, could you go
So
first?
it's an interesting twist. And I'll let Bill tell his part of the story, but he, as a young age, he worked with a kind of a local distiller, let's just say, and he kind of learned the ropes from him. And the cool thing is that one of the recipes that the old timer that he learned from, he used a recipe that we later found out that was actually my great grandfather's recipe. So it's just really cool, and we used that recipe, but we just put kind of a modern day twist. Now, my great grandfather would have used grains from these fields, and now you can buy a lot of that stuff, you know,
Right.
these brewing stores and stuff. So they've got more modern twist on it, but it's basically still that recipe. But now Bill can tell you how he kind of got started in it.
Well, tell us about it, Bill. Just tell us what you want us to know.
Well, believe it or not, as far as I know, I believe I'm a first generation moonshiner. I don't know of anybody on my mother or my father's side of the family, grandparents, great grandparents. I'm sure they were. It just wasn't brought to my attention. But it just so happened I was in my early teens, 12, 13 years old. A friend of mine and I were squirrel hunting one day, and it was around October. It would have been sort of the end of the season to make whiskey, because you're getting late as far as the temperature wise. If it drops down at cold at night, you have a hard time getting mashed in. But we ran across a guy. He was making some whiskey, and at first it scared me because I didn't know what this guy's going to think. And he got mad at us, and because he was afraid we was going to tell on him, and our puppies. But we, as time went on, we didn't say anything about it. And my buddy, he moved off, and so he got out of the picture, the one that I was hunting with. But the old man came to me one day, and this has been, up about 5 or 6 years. I've got driver's license by now, and in high school, and this, that, and the other, and wanted to know if I wanted to do a little bootlegging for him. And at that particular time, county adjacent to us was a dry county, and as a teenage boy, you know how sometimes that can be. I'm not going to sit down and condone this, but what the heck. And I thought it'd be cool and fun, sort of a smoking the bandit kind of persona,
right.
and didn't get caught, and
Luckily.
because I'd have been in a major trouble for
That's
that.
right.
But yeah, that's how. And as time went on, he introduced me to how to do it, and I picked all that knowledge up from him. And he's long gone now. I'm not going to say any names because I always promised him that I wouldn't say his name. I wouldn't tell nobody. And
We're not talking names today.
yeah, that's right. And even in his death, I still keep that promise, because he was an outstanding fella, and he was, well known in his community and all that. And so we're just gonna keep it at that. But time goes. You get married, you get out of high school, you get a job, you build a house, you have children come along, and things change. And I had a friend come up to me one day that was wanting to make some brandy out of some crab apples. And I think he had like a half a bushel of crab apples and about a half a 5-gallon bucket of blackberries that he had put up, and he wanted to know how to do it. So I told him, I said, I know how to do it. So we made him a mash, and we mashed that in, and it got ready. He had a little old steel that you put on your stove inside your house, maybe 5 gallons. And we run it off, and actually it was really good, you know. And that sort of gave me the bug to start doing it as a hobby. Not nothing big, not nothing, you know, not selling any illegal moonshine, not out peddling it and bootlegging it across state lines and all.
You just kind of wanted to see if Bill could do it.
Right. And the main thing, I just wanted, like, barbecue.
Right.
You know, some people, you know, cook a rack of ribs and they'll think they're good and they're not. They're tough and they don't do it slow and low. And so it's sort of like barbecue. And I just wanted to get into it to try to make something really good that I could get out of these woods. And that's how I got my start. Now, I'm sure there's some of my people in my family that were a part of that, being, you know, the 20s, the 30s, being a part of the Prohibition era and all that. Somewhere back in time, I'm probably pretty sure they were, because they were on my daddy's side, on his mother and his father, both. We go way back in Coosa County. I'm talking back to the 1700s, my family, on both sides, the Stewart and the Embry side. My daddy's father and all from Rockford area, and my grandmother on my daddy's side, they were from Weguffka.
Right.
Born and raised, you know, and people that was the first people to, my great aunt was one of the first people to ever graduate the first year they had a school down here. So my history goes way, way, way back here in Coosa County. But not anybody that I could just point to directly like a grandfather or a great-grandfather.
Right. But, okay, now we got our ancestors. You ever heard that old saying, we're all kin? I think we're all kin, don't you, Bill?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
No.
so. I think y'all kind of favor each other.
Well, thank you. That's a compliment to me. Let's talk about how you actually, the process you went through getting on the show.
Well, so we've always loved the show. We've always, since it came out, we were big fans of the show. And so one day I'm on the internet just kind of scanning through, and a casting call for Moonshiner's Master Distiller, and I thought, interesting. So I just filled it out online and just thought, maybe let's just throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. And lo and behold, after I'd sent it in, it was about a month later, they give him a call and said, hey, can you, are you interested? If so, what we need is you to, you know, send us some pictures, you know, and just kind of a video, a short video of you talking, and let's just kind of see how you are. And he did that. And after he did that, time rocked on, and, you know, you don't hear from him for months.
You was wondering if it was a prank or not, right?
Well, and you start thinking, well, maybe that's just not what they were looking for, you know, so maybe they didn't like my camera presence or what have you. This was totally him this whole time. I put his name in the hat. And so it was back in, what month was it they called? It was about August. And they asked him, they said...
No, it wasn't August. We filmed in August.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It was in July.
July, okay.
Because we had gone to Maggie Valley, the Hillbilly Festival up there.
Jam there.
And got to meet a lot of people up there that's in the know. And they told me, just hang on, you know. They'll when they call you, they'll call you.
It's a process.
Right,
It's
right.
a process. A lot of background checks they did on us, on him, and, you know, made sure everything was okay. Well, then... So they call, and we finally got the call, and they said, well, can you come on and maybe make some gin or some other kind of something? It might have been absinthe or something that he has never made before. And he says, you know, I've never made that much, you know, I'm not good at that. And if I'm going to be on it, I want to be on it to win it, you know. And he said, so I'm just, if y'all could have something else later on, give me a call. They said, well, as a matter of fact, we have another one that's coming up that's, you know, it's called the Family Feud Edition. And would you be interested? Does anybody in your household, in your family, help you to steal? And he says, well, as a matter of fact, my wife does.
I bet that blowed their mind.
Yeah, probably so. Because I think
that's actually what they was hoping for, to be honest with you.
Right.
I don't look like the typical moonshiner, but I've learned from him over the years, so I'm quite capable, you know. So he asked me, you think you would be interested in going and doing it with me? And I said, sure, let's do this.
Let's do it.
So we did, and here we sit.
And it worked out great. It was y'all two against two brothers, against a father-son, and it was a heated competition.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And all of y'all was good. Everybody was good.
Thank you.
I would have hated to have to been the one to choose, but I'm so glad they chose y'all.
We are
Well,
too.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, the other two was a little untraditional, what we call down here in the South. But y'all stuck with your roots, y'all stuck with tradition, and they loved that.
That's right.
I think it give y'all one up because y'all was sticking to what the
Tradition.
They loved that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, tradition has to start somewhere, and to be, in all honesty, our competitors, both of the other teams, Jerry and Lannon and
Kyle and Randy.
the two brothers from New Jersey. It was an honor to get to compete against them.
Yeah.
guys.
And they were
And they
all
was
And
good.
they were good, and
Excellent
they're
distillers.
excellent distillers, and they brought their twist to a modern, you know, this game of distillation and brewing and winemaking is changing ever rapidly.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's changing because you've got this younger generation of people that's got all these new ideas, and they're fast forwarding in this at a rapid rate. And it was an honor to compete against them. I give them all the respect, even though the two the brothers were the first ones to get eliminated. I know that was devastating to them, but to be honest with you, it was devastating to us because we had built a friendship.
Sure.
And through this process,
Sure.
we got to know these people. We talked to them, and to see them leave just completely devastated, because I know deep down inside that, you know, they wanted to win.
Sure they
And
did.
to be
Everybody went
eliminated-
up there to win.
Right, and to be eliminated, I understand how they must have felt, and I hate it for them because they were great guys. They were wonderful distillers, and
You could tell they knew what they was doing. It just, everybody couldn't win.
That's
Right.
right.
You know, there was 3 sets of y'all and only 1 set
Right.
could win. And I know it probably devastated all y'all when you found out somebody was gonna get eliminated.
Yeah, that was tough.
I mean, it was. I mean, that's behind the scenes stuff that you don't see on the shows is the emotion part, the raw emotion part of it.
Right.
And then once we moved on to get to work against Lannon and Jerry, the father and the son team, that was an honor as well, because Lannon is a great guy. He is like a super good distiller. He's a head distiller at a major distillery out on the West Coast.
His father's very knowledgeable. Of the
Really
distilling
nice
process.
people. We had a ball
Super
with
people.
them, and we talked to them. Not real often, but I would say, you know, couple,
Y'all
3
made
times a
lots
month.
of friends. up
Right.
We
there.
really did. It's
Yeah.
a brotherhood, and I guess you could say a sisterhood
Yeah,
too.
sisterhood
of
now.
moonshiners,
That's
you know,
right.
and
But
you
yeah.
become like family.
Right.
But
right.
to be able to compete at that high level, out of all the thousands of people that try out for this particular show, like I said, somebody earlier today asked the question, you know, and on that line, and I said, well, to be chosen is a win in the first place.
Right.
If you're one of those contestants, you've already won,
Right.
because there's so many people that are trying out to get on this particular show. Just to be there is a win.
Right.
And I understand the feeling, because I had that feeling. I wanted to win.
Right.
There was a lump in my throat the whole time we were doing this, because I wanted to win.
Sure you
You're not
did.
going in it.
You
not
didn't
to
go
win.
up there.
Right, right.
You didn't go up there to lose.
And it was an honor to get to meet those guys. We met other people because they were filming all these other episodes while we was filming ours as well. So when any of you watch the show, that's another thing that people don't realize. It takes a month to do this. This was a lot of filming. This was a lot of hard work. And while we were there, they were doing these other episodes as well. So we get to meet every one of these shows that come on. You know, we know those
Right.
people.
We
We've
know
made
them. It's
friends, and
pretty
now
cool.
all of a sudden it brings a whole new aspect to the show, because hey, you know, that's Mr. Tommy.
That's John.
That's
you
John
know,
Bence.
so
You know,
it's really
we got
cool, you
and we
know,
made
that
so
you
many
see these
friends out of these people.
friends now.
Yeah. And,
Y'all went from not knowing them to being friends
absolutely.
Yes,
to y'all are kind of a family now.
we really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
there's some of them that I talk to daily,
Right.
every day. The friend of mine, John Bence, he came in second place in the firefighters edition. He's from Ohio. He's an outstanding guy.
Right.
Love him to death. He's a volunteer fireman. And that says something about a person's character right there. If you're willing to volunteer to do something and not get paid for it, that's pretty
He's
good.
just a real
It is.
American hero.
Yeah, he sure is, and we talk daily. Daily. I mean, I
Right.
think I talked to him this morning. I know I did.
Right.
And we talked a little bit yesterday, and great guy. We got Tommy Shin, who won the tequila episode.
Agave, yeah.
Lives on the west coast of Oregon, on the coast of Oregon. Talk to them daily.
Right.
You know,
Right.
not per se on the phone, but you know, through Facebook Messenger and
Right.
text messages, and occasionally on the phone
Right.
daily. And
Y'all formed a brotherhood, as men you might say, a sisterhood, as you might say,
Right.
but they are lifelong friends
They
now.
are.
lifelong friends. Yeah.
Right.
It was an honor to meet them. It was a honor to be chosen to be on the show. We learned so much. It was such a overwhelming experience that it's hard to describe. You know, people ask us all the time, well, what was it like? It seemed like forever at that particular time, and now that you look back on it, it's like
It
that.
went by
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Went by real
And,
fast.
I would love to get the opportunity to do some more stuff with them. You know, I hope that's in the future. That's up to them, and
I think you will.
I hope so. That was
think
the
you
reason.
will.
Awesome.
That was one of the main reasons that that's how we got. I had inquired about how to get on the show, and they said, well, you know, you need to go through this process right here, and I like to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
She's not as crazy about it as me. I've always been. I got friends that have watched this, and they'll say he's hitting the nail on the head.
That's right.
I love to
He's
show
the
out,
talker in our duo.
and
Right.
I'm not camera shy. People ask all the time, "Oh, was you shy about being
Mm-hmm.
on camera?" Never, not one time did that ever affect me.
Right.
And some of that's got to do with the production crew. They set us up for success.
Mm-hmm.
They told us, and we did things rhetorically
Made
over.
you feel comfortable?
They
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
super comfortable. Yeah.
They
were
made.
just-
I'll be honest with you. I think what it was. I think the aspect that this aspect of it is they became our friends before we ever started filming.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
The production
folks.
crew, great folks,
Right.
professional. Behind the scenes, they would come up to us and like hug you on the neck, pat you
Right.
on the back, and you need something to drink, you want something to eat,
Right.
come over here. Or, what's going on? What do you like to do in Alabama? Or, blah blah. So we actually sort of built a friendship, and then once we built a friendship, it wasn't so strange seeing that person walk in on set,
Right.
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 and they didn't get mad at us if we slipped up, you
Yes.
know. So during the process, they set us up for success. So I never once ever had any problem with the camera. You know, I did some things up there that wasn't on the TV show. I wish they'd have put, but we showing out and making, just having a good time.
Right.
You showing
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Okay. Now, congratulations on winning that.
Thank you.
Y'all are the first couple to ever win it.
Yep.
And I thought there was going to be a fight there for a minute, but everything worked out, didn't it?
It did work out. Yeah.
Uh,
Are you talking about
Can you explain a little bit what
Are
happened?
you talking about my steel build?
I am.
Okay, so yeah, they chose when the picking order on going into the steel house, and they decided, well, Rachel, you're going to go pick out the steel parts. I don't know if they didn't think I knew what I was doing or what, but anyway.
But
you
they
didn't-
wanted you to do it.
They
Right.
wanted me to be,
Okay.
be participant of it too. So I go in to get them, but I was second in line. So there is an arm that you need. It's kind of square, and it goes to your thumper over to your worm.
And there's a name for that, and I can't
It's-
never remember
It's
this.
that thing is all I
Yeah,
know.
I
But
should know
anyway,
it, but
thing, yeah, I
there
know.
you go. That
So-
thing. There you
That's
go.
right.
Thing
I
of the jig.
looked, and I couldn't find it. And Tickle was going, 30 more seconds, Rachel. And I was panicking. I'm like, gosh. And so,
We was too, Rachel.
yeah, I
We
was
was
panicking.
panicking too.
So at that point, I
I
was
would have
like,
been.
okay, I
You
started
didn't know
seeing
yet.
there was some copper tubing that was just kind of in like a banana shape.
Right.
And I thought, well, I'm just going to have to he's pretty good MacGyver. He'll put some stuff together. So I thought, okay, I know that's a tube that I need. So I went ahead and got that and for him to put it together. But I also got some extra parts. I didn't need all these clamps. I didn't need all these gaskets. But I just hoping that maybe they might need these clamps and gaskets.
The smartest move you made the
That
whole
was my
time.
smartest ace in the hole move I did, because when we got there to build the steel, as you saw on the show, he asked me, he said, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I was missing those arms." And anyway, Jerry and Lannon, the father-son, they were trying to put theirs together, and all of a sudden they realized they missed one of those clamps. And I had extra. So I said, "Jerry, can I sweet talk you into one of those arms for one of my clamps?" And then we ended up trading, and
Good
that
trade.
just worked out.
Right, right.
Because see, what people don't realize on the show is you have to be able to put that steel together in that allotted amount of time. I think it was 1 hour. You got 1 hour to build a safe, functioning steel.
Emphasis on safe.
They're not
They
going to
want it
let
to be
you.
safe.
Right.
They're not going to let somebody go in there and just set the place on fire
Right.
or do something dangerous. So if you don't get past that particular challenge, that's it.
That's right. You're
It's
done.
just no different than turning in a
Right.
bad jar. Is if you can't build a steel, well, you can't. Cause see, the first distillation we did on our stripper, the steel was already set up.
Right.
We were there, and we took our mash, poured it in the pot. Everything was connected. Everything was done for you. Well, that second one, we had to build that steel.
Right.
We had to make sure that all these connectors were right. So if she hadn't have got those particular gaskets that Jerry and Lannon needed, we'd have been the first to be eliminated because we couldn't build
We couldn't have built a safe
functioning
steel,
steel.
a functioning one.
and that would have been terrible, because if you've watched the history of the show, out of the 3 seasons prior to ours, we're season 4. Nobody's ever been eliminated because of that.
Right.
So
But
that
it's
was
doable.
nerve wracking,
Sure.
because you're like, doggone, you don't want to be the first to get eliminated because
Right.
you can't put the steel together over. And yeah, they wanted her to do the steel pick. They had come to me a couple of times because of space. Didn't have enough room to let 2 people go in at one time, and they wanted to make it fair to all the other contestants that had to do it on their own. They said, "Do you think Rachael will do this?"
I said, "Sure."
And I said, "I'll ask her." I said, "I'm sure she will." And I told her, I said, "Well, they're actually wanting you to do the steel pick by yourself." And she said,
No
"Yeah, that's
pressure,
good."
right?
Yeah. No pressure.
No pressure.
Right.
But I had no idea what was going on. You know,
Right.
we came in second on the first round behind Jerry and Lannon. So she got to go into the steel house second.
Yeah, he was nowhere around.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't
So
nowhere.
we-
I had
I
no
knew,
idea.
I know y'all was busy while we was viewing this, and y'all probably didn't get to see some of the things that we got to see. But while you was getting your stuff, they was talking about it, and you're standing out there. I know you're a nervous wreck because you're thinking, "I hope she gets everything." Well, once they got out there, and you says, "Say it again." How did you say?
What did you do?
What did you
And
do?
I said, "Well."
When you said that, I can't remember if it was Mark or Digger or Tim. One says,
It was Digger. He said,
He said,
"Uh-oh."
"Uh-oh," and then the other one says, "We might be fixing to see our first husband-wife fight on this show."
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was it all worked
It
out
worked
good.
out. It worked out for the best.
And as the show goes on, you wind up winning. You're our Coosa County winners. And
Yeah.
can before we get too long on this interview,
Yeah.
can we talk about what's working for the future? I know y'all are a little bit involved with Bourbon on Broadway in Silicaca. Can we talk about some of the things without giving too much away?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
We
The reason I'm asking this, Bill, is because on this page there's 21,000 people.
How
And
cool is that?
18,000 of them is wanting to know when they can taste
Where they could get the hooch.
Right.
where
And
they,
I
when they can taste Bill and Rachel's product.
And I understand that's been a question that's been asked us in the past week 1,000 times. So right now we have, when we first got the okay to announce that we were on the show, and we found out what time and date our show was going to come on, we had a watch party that initial night, the night it aired, at Bandits in Silicaca,
Right.
at Derek's place.
The watch party.
The watch party.
That's right.
Well, Kelly and Angela had reached out to us. That's the Kelly Pierce is the owner of
Prince.
Prince.
Kelly Prince.
Is the owner of Bourbon on Broadway. They had requested
Kelly and her mom, Marcy.
Right, Marcy,
Marcy's
Miss, I
awesome.
call her Mama.
We call her
Okay.
Mama.
But
yeah.
anyway, we had they had asked if we would and come and have a watch party there as well, and we said, well, sure we will, because we wanted to support local businesses. And so when we were there, Kelly had mentioned to me that, you know, just talking, getting to know each other, that she had always wanted to start a distillery, that her and Angela had been talking about doing this over the past year or so, and asked if I would be willing to possibly help her in that and come on board with them. And I said, well, absolutely, being that you're from locally and all that. So we're in the process of getting all that done. We don't know how long that's going to take.
Lots of paperwork
That's
with
up to
the
the state and the local.
But
It
we're
doesn't
gonna-
just happen overnight.
It
Right.
don't, but we want to do it right, and we want to make a success out of it.
Right.
And by winning the show, Sugarlands in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, will do a limited run of our winning recipe, and I think that's a 650 gallon run. Don't quote me on that. I think I'm pretty sure, and that will be available as soon as they get that distilled and bottled. But from what I've been told, that pretty much sells out like that.
I bet it does, yeah.
They're going to bring Rachael and I up there when they release that for a couple of days to be a part of that release.
And when we know that date, we will let you guys know, because we would love any local
Yeah.
folks to come and share that experience with us
Yeah.
in Gatlinburg.
Do you mind if Randy Clark comes up there?
I guess it'll be all right.
I'm ready. I think me and Mr. Paul is already making us a trip
Good.
already.
But
More
it-
the merrier.
But as soon as we find out some of this stuff, we'll make it public on our Facebook channel, our YouTube channel, Instagram.
We'll let you guys
Okay,
know.
let us know, because
Yeah.
we're nipping at the bud.
Yeah,
And I'm
we are
sure-
too.
I'm sure y'all are.
We are.
I'm sure y'all
I'm
are.
interested in tasting what they come up, you know, what they do that on our recipe, their twist to it. I'm looking forward to being able to work with them on that. They did say that we would get to come up there and when they release that and be a part of that, and that will be an honor. And I am really looking forward to that, to be honest with you, because that's going to be something that that's a dream come true.
Sure it
To
is.
hold a bottle of something that you made.
And the extra special thing is we did it together.
That's
Yeah,
right.
And
and our
that's what's
picture
really
on it, our
cool.
name on it,
That's
and
right.
be able to pass that down to children and grandchildren someday, because they did say that they would. I believe I read that they would give us a couple of cases
Right.
for us,
Right.
and then sell the rest of it. And so those bottles right there, I can honestly say, are pretty much spoken for.
Yes.
We will probably buy some of ours to bring home to give to close and personal friends. But as far as being in the state store or anything like that, I don't think that's going to be the case, because it
Right
sells
now.
out right now. Right,
Maybe
that.
later.
Now,
Right.
what we're doing at Bourbon on Broadway, initially it's going to be a micro distiller. It's going to be small scale. It's not going to be anything where you can supply the liquor stores in the state, or you know.
But it would be an outlet to where if you want to come and buy some of our
Right.
stuff and try it, you can buy it there by the bottle.
It'll be for sale there, you know, certain bottles, and plus it will be what Angela and them use in their cocktails and their house drink. If you request something other, they'll still have other stuff, but it will give people the option to come in and say, hey, I want to try something that Bill and Rachael have made, or they're distilling here. We'll probably do a traditional, like a corn moonshine, 100 proof moonshine in a mason jar. But my forte, what I want to really do is I want to get into some of the more, I like whiskeys, like bourbons and whiskeys. You can't do a bourbon in Alabama. You know, you can basically use the same type grains, but you can't call it a bourbon. So we'll just go with whiskey, and
And
make
what we
some-
did on the show, we could do something like that. And that was a mountain brandy. And for people that don't know what a mountain brandy is, a lot of people back in the old days would call it poor man's brandy, because you wouldn't have enough grain to make just a mash of whiskey, and you might not have enough fruit to do brandy. So they would mix both of those together, and it would be like a hybrid, and it would be what they called a mountain brandy. And
Yeah,
that's
they would
exactly
call that
what
a
we
mountain
did. Was we
brandy.
made a mountain brandy on the show.
we'll
Right.
probably do some stuff, you know, some regular brandies like peach, because of our close proximity to Chilton County, and peaches, and so we're excited about that more than you'll ever know. It's one of those deals where you wish it would hurry up and get here, but we also know that it eventually will, and then it's going to be like, man, I wish this would have took longer, because it's a lot going on, and so we're looking forward to that, and we want the community, the people in the community, and all that, especially
support the business,
support the businesses, and we want to do something here. I know a lot of people say, well, why are you doing that in Sylacauga and not in Coosa County?
It's a process.
It's
It
a
is a
process,
process.
Yes,
and
it's not-
logistically,
It
and
has nothing to do with this or that.
Right.
It's a process you have to
Right.
go through.
financially.
We understand that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kelly's already got the building, already got the resources there.
The
We've already got a
license.
bartender or mixologist there. So that frees up us having to find a building to do all that, put the bar in, the cabinets in, and the shelving and the coolers and all this, water, gas, and money. And then so we're gonna start small.
That's right.
Kelly and I have talked about this with the hopes of getting big.
Right.
That goes back to going on the show. You went on the show to win. I did. She did. Both of us did. And our intention was the very first moment they said, you got 1 hour to mash in, we were in it to win it from that point to the final episode.
Right.
So when doing this with Kelly and Angela and Mama, their help, Kelly's business sense, Angela's ability to do the mixing, the flavoring and stuff
Miss
like that.
Marcy is a workhorse.
Miss Marcy
She'll do
working.
anything.
She is.
Yeah, she's right there
Jack
the
of all
whole time,
trades.
doing the grunt work, and Rachael is going to be a big part of the distilling process of it because of who she is and what she's learned to do, and I think that's a good thing to sort of have a woman's twist to it. A big segment of the industry today is women.
Bill's going to be outnumbered with all of us girls
Yeah,
in a distillery, but hey.
We're used to that though. aren't we?
That's right. But I'm gonna slip in every now and then and make sure everything's going all right, and we're gonna start doing this, and we're gonna put a good product on the shelves. I can promise you that. I'm not gonna release anything that doesn't taste good, and we got a lot in store for the community here in the
That's
next.
great. That's great. Thank y'all so much for doing this interview.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you for winning the competition. Thank you for considering Bourbon on Broadway for a product that we got coming. And we all understand it's a process,
It's a process.
but we're going to make it happen.
That's right.
We've got one more watch party I'd like to tell everybody about.
Okay.
On the 21st of this month.
It's at 22 and Crew in Rockford. It'll be at 6 p.m. So right here in Coosa County.
Okay.
It's a nice little business. Jenny Johnson owns it, and y'all need to come out and support Jenny and come see us. It's fun.
And I want to emphasize my Coosa County friends. So far, we've had overwhelming support from Sylacauga and Clanton and all that. This is Coosa County's chance to shine. We had a sellout crowd at Bandits. Mad Dogs in Clanton the other day said it was the biggest night they've had in the 6 years they've been in business. And Kelly said the night we were there was about 50 people there, and overwhelming support.
And we're just humbled by
Humbled
all
by
the
that.
support.
So I just want to bring that out to let people know that watch this video that we will be at 22
and Crew.
22 and 22.
We're going to
on
sell
the
that out too.
21st. Yes.
Then we're going to sell that out too.
I
There
hope
you
so.
go.
All right.
We have-
22 and Crew. Rachael, Wild Bill, Embry, we're somewhere down in Coosa County. Make sure you come to the 22 and Crew, and we look forward to tasting your product. See you next time.